Stop. Don't move. Look at your hand. Seriously, hold it up. Now, wiggle your index finger. Simple, right? You felt an impulse. You made a choice. Then the finger moved. That is the single most persistent illusion in the history of human thought, because according to the laws of physics, the real physics, not the stuff you learned in high school, you didn't choose anything. That finger wiggle, it was mathematically guaranteed to happen exactly 13.8 billion years ago. Here is the part nobody tells you. We think of time as a river. We stand in the present, watching the future flow toward us. We think the future hasn't happened yet, right? Wrong. Einstein killed that idea in 1915. In the equations of the universe, there is no present. There is no future. There is just coordinates. The future isn't a blank page waiting for you to write on it. It is a mountain range that is already there, shrouded in fog. You are just climbing it. Every mistake you will ever make, already fixed. Every success, already carved in stone. This is called a determinism gap. And if I explain it right, it won't just change how you see physics. It will change how you see yourself. Let me show you. I know what you are thinking. I can feel your resistance through the screen. You are sitting there, maybe holding your phone, maybe scratching your nose, thinking, this guy is crazy. I chose to click this video. I can choose to turn it off right now. It feels real. It feels visceral. But does feeling free make you free? Think about a dream. When you are dreaming, you feel like you are making choices. You run, you fly, you open doors. It feels like you are the driver. But when you wake up, you realize you weren't driving. You were just watching a movie your brain was projecting. You were the audience, mistakenly thinking you were the director. Your waking life? It's the same thing, just with better graphics. Here is the part where your intuition fails. We confuse two very different things: unpredictability and freedom. Imagine you are on a roller coaster in the dark, pitch black. You feel a twist to the left, then a sudden drop, then a loop. You have no idea what is coming next. It feels wild, random, open. But is it? No. The track was built years ago. The steel rails are bolted down. Just because you can't see the turn coming doesn't mean the turn isn't already there. Your brain is lying to you right now. It tells you that because you don't know the future isn't fixed. That is a logic error. Ignorance of the future is not the same as freedom from the future. Do this right now. Close your eyes. Seriously. Pick a number between 1 and 10. Lock it in. Got it? Okay, open your eyes. Was that free will? You think you picked that number. But why didn't you pick 3.14? Why didn't you pick -5? Because your brain is a biological machine restricted by rules. Maybe you picked 7 because you like prime numbers. Maybe you picked 5 because you saw a $5 bill earlier. If I had a supercomputer that could scan every neuron in your brain 1 second before you answered, I could have predicted your number with 100% accuracy. You didn't pick the number. The state of your brain calculated the number based on the state of your brain a moment before. And that moment? It was caused by the moment before that. Chain reaction. Snap, 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 backwards into infinity. This is where the math gets uncomfortable. Because if your thoughts are just chemical reactions and chemistry follows physics, then your thoughts are just physics. And physics? Physics has rules, strict ones. To understand why your life is already on a track, we have to look at the guy who built the track. We have to go back to a billiard table in the 17th century. Let's play a game. Imagine a pool table, green felt, smooth slate. You line up the cue ball. You pull back the stick. Crack! The white ball screams across the table and smacks into the 8-ball. The 8-ball rolls into the corner pocket. Now stop the tape. Rewind. If I put the balls back in exactly the same spot, precisely to the nanometer, and I hit the cue ball with exactly the same force, at exactly the same angle, what happens? Does the 8-ball go into the side pocket? Does it fly off the table? Wrong. It goes into the corner pocket, again, and again, and again, 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. Why? Because of Isaac Newton. In the 1600s, Newton handed us a rule book called Classical Mechanics. He showed us that the universe isn't run by spirits or luck. It's run by laws. Equation in, answer out. If you know the position of an object and the forces acting on it, you can predict its future with 100% certainty. That sounds like high school physics, right? But here is where it gets terrifying. Look at your hand again. What is it made of? Skin? No. Cells? Go deeper. Molecules? Deeper. Atoms. Your hand is just a collection of trillions of tiny billiard balls bouncing around, held together by electromagnetic forces. So if the laws of physics apply to one billiard ball, and they apply to 2 billiard balls, wait, do they stop applying just because there are a trillion of them? No. Physics doesn't care how big you are. You are just a very, very complex game of pool. This brings us to a French genius named Pierre-Simon Laplace. In 1814, he proposed a thought experiment, a monster idea. He said, imagine an intellect. Let's call it Laplace's demon. This demon knows the precise position and momentum of every single atom in the universe at this exact moment. Every photon, every electron. If the demon has that data, and the demon has Newton's laws, nothing is uncertain. The demon could calculate the position of every atom for the next 10,000 years. It could see the formation of the next galaxy. It could see tomorrow's stock market crash. And watch what this implies. It could see you watching this video 3 minutes from now. Because you are just atoms following a path determined by the bump you got a split second ago. And that bump was caused by the bump before it. If you trace that chain reaction back, all the way back, where do you land? The Big Bang, the opening break shot of the cosmic pool game. When the Big Bang exploded 13.8 billion years ago, it sent all the matter in the universe flying. The angle and speed of those particles at that first second determined everything that has ever happened since. The formation of stars? Calculated in the bang. The extinction of dinosaurs? Calculated in the bang. You clicking this video? It was mathematically locked in before the Earth was even born. This is the determinism gap. The gap between the Big Bang and now isn't filled with choices. It's filled with falling dominoes. But some of you are screaming at the screen right now. But what about time? Time flows. The future hasn't happened yet. That is the single biggest lie your brain tells you. To a physicist, time doesn't flow. Time is frozen. You think of time as a river. You stand in the quote-unquote present, and the future flows towards you, washes over you, and disappears into the past. It feels like a movie reel being played one frame at a time. But physics has a very, very different picture. Here is the part nobody tells you. The biggest shock of the 20th century wasn't the atomic bomb. It was Albert Einstein's realization that time is not what we think it is. Imagine a loaf of bread, a long, uncut loaf. Let's say the left end is the Big Bang. The right end is the heat death of the universe. Every slice in between is a moment in time. One slice is the dinosaurs. One slice is the pyramids being built. One slice is you right now watching this video. One slice is your funeral. Now imagine cutting that loaf into slices. To you, living inside the loaf, you only experience one slice at a time. You call it now. You think the slice behind you is gone. You think the slice ahead of you doesn't exist yet. Wrong. The whole loaf exists at once. This is called the block universe theory. In Einstein's relativity, time is just another dimension, like length, width, and height. Just because you can't see the next town over the hill doesn't mean the town isn't there. It's just at a different location. The future is exactly the same. It's just a place you haven't arrived at yet. But the place is already built. Think about this. If you draw a timeline on a piece of paper, you draw the past on the left and the future on the right. The paper doesn't happen 1 inch at a time. The whole line is already on the paper. From the perspective of the universe, all of time, past, present, and future, exists simultaneously. It is frozen, a 4D block of ice. So when you say, I have free will to choose my future, what you are really saying is, I can change the shape of the loaf of bread that has already been baked. You can't. The loaf is baked. The ingredients are set. The crust is formed. But wait, maybe you think, okay, Einstein was smart, but he could be wrong about this. Maybe now is special. This is where your intuition gets crushed by geometry, because now is not the same for everyone. Do this right now. Imagine you and a friend are standing on opposite ends of a room. You snap your fingers at the exact same time. To you, the snaps are simultaneous. To him, they are simultaneous. Easy. But what if your friend is flying past you in a spaceship at 99% the speed of light? Relativity says something insane happens. He will disagree with you about what happened now. He might say your snap happened first, or his snap happened first, and neither of you is wrong. There is no universal now. There is no cosmic clock ticking for everyone. Your now is just a slice of the loaf at a specific angle. His now is a slice at a different angle. And here is the glitch in the matrix. If there is no universal now, then there is no universal divide between past and future. What is future for you could be past for an alien in a distant galaxy moving towards us. If your future is someone else's past, then your future must already exist. This means the script is written. Every word I am saying, every thought popping into your head, every comment you are about to type, it is all just coordinates in the block. You are not writing your life story. You are reading it. Nobody likes this answer, but the data demands it. It feels claustrophobic, right? Like you are trapped in a movie you can't pause. But hold on, because right now, some of you are screaming, what about the Andromeda paradox? Or maybe you're thinking, this doesn't make sense. If the future is fixed, why does it feel so uncertain? Let me show you exactly how your brain tricks you into believing in now. Stop. Close your eyes again. No, seriously, think about now. What is happening right now on the planet Mars? Maybe a dust storm. Maybe a rover taking a selfie. It feels like there is a definite answer, a single, universal now that stretches across the universe like a giant sheet. Wrong. That feeling? It's a cognitive illusion. There is no such thing as a simultaneous now across the universe. Here is the famous Andromeda paradox. Imagine an alien in the Andromeda galaxy, 2.5 million light years away. Let's say this alien starts walking towards Earth, just a slow, casual walk. Because of the weird geometry of space-time, his plane of simultaneity, his slice of the bread loaf, tilts towards our future. Suddenly, his now includes next Tuesday on Earth. He doesn't see it yet, light takes time to travel, but mathematically, his now contains events that haven't happened for you yet. If he turns around and walks away from Earth, his slice tilts the other way. His now suddenly includes last Thursday. Think about this. By simply changing direction, an alien can make your future into his past. If your future already exists for him, then it must already exist for you. It's just waiting for you to catch up to it. This destroys the idea that the future is open. If the future is open, how can an alien walk towards it and have it be his present? It must be fixed, like a landscape. The mountain is there whether you are climbing it or looking at it from a distance. You might say, but that's just math. Real life isn't math. Real life is math. Your brain evolved to survive on the African savanna, not to understand four-dimensional space-time. To a hunter-gatherer, now is useful. Now means a lion is jumping at you. Now means you need to run. Your brain stitches together sensory data and calls it the present moment. But there is a delay. Light takes time to hit your eyes. Nerves take time to carry the signal. The brain takes time to process it. By the time you perceive now, it is already in the past. You are living 80 milliseconds in the past, forever. You are always chasing the ghost of the present. And here is the glitch in the matrix. If now is subjective, if now depends on how fast you are moving, then there is no objective moment of choice. There is no magical instant where you stand at a crossroads and pick a path. The path is a single line, a world line, from birth to death, snaking through the block of space-time. Wait, this feels depressing. It feels robotic. If everything is fixed, why try? Why get out of bed? Why not just lie down and let the universe happen? Because you can't. You are part of the chain reaction. Your desire to get out of bed is just another domino falling. Your confusion about this video is a domino falling. You are locked in the dance. But there is one loophole, one tiny, weird, microscopic loophole that physicists have been arguing about for 100 years. It's called quantum mechanics, and some people think it saves free will. Does it? Or does it just make things worse? Hold on. If you know anything about modern physics, you are probably screaming one word at the screen right now: quantum. He hasn't talked about quantum mechanics. That changes everything. You are right. Sort of. In the 1920s, a bunch of physicists, Heisenberg, Schrödinger, Bohr, looked at the smallest building blocks of reality: atoms, electrons, photons, and they found something that terrified them. The rules of the pool table? They broke down completely. If I shoot an electron like a billiard ball, I can't predict where it will land. I can only give you a probability. 50% chance it goes left, 50% chance it goes right. Until I measure it, it doesn't have a definite position. It exists in a haze of possibility, a cloud. The future of that electron isn't fixed. It is literally random. This is where your intuition fails. You think, aha, randomness. That means the future isn't set in stone. That means I have free will. Stop. Think about what you just said. Imagine your brain as a quantum computer. Every thought you have is determined by the random jump of an electron. One minute you decide to eat a salad. The next minute an electron jumps left instead of right, and you decide to rob a bank. Is that free will? Or is that just randomness? If your choices are determined by a roll of the dice in your brain, you are not free. You are just random. You are a slave to chaos instead of a slave to clockwork. A puppet on strings is still a puppet, even if the strings jerk unpredictably. Unpredictable does not mean chosen by you. Here is the part nobody tells you. Quantum mechanics might not even be random. There is a theory called many worlds interpretation. It says that every time a quantum event happens, the universe splits. The electron goes left in this universe. It goes right in a parallel universe. Both happen. Everything that can happen does happen. If that is true, then there is a version of you that clicked off this video 5 minutes ago. There is a version of you that became a doctor. There is a version of you that is reading this script right now. But you, the consciousness experiencing this specific timeline, are just sliding down one specific branch of the tree. You didn't choose the branch. You are just the version of you that lives here. That sounds like science fiction, but the math supports it just as well as the random dice roll. So we are left with two options. Deterministic universe. Your future is fixed. One path, no choice. Quantum universe. Your future is random. Many paths, no choice. Either way, free will as you imagine it, the magical ability to stand outside the laws of physics and push buttons, doesn't exist. It can't exist, because you are made of atoms, and atoms obey laws. But wait, what about complexity? What about the weather? We can't predict the weather more than a week out. It's too chaotic. Maybe the human brain is just so complex that it creates a new kind of freedom. Maybe chaos is the loophole we need. Do this right now. Look out the window. Look at a cloud. It looks random. It changes shape. It moves unpredictably. But is it actually unpredictable? Or is it just too complicated for us to calculate? Look at a leaf falling from a tree. It spins, it floats, it lands on the grass. Could you predict exactly where it would land? No. You'd say, it's random, it's chaotic. And you'd be wrong. This is chaos theory. In the 1960s, a meteorologist named Edward Lorenz discovered something terrifying. He was running a weather simulation on a computer. Simple math. He wanted to see what would happen if he changed one number by a tiny amount. Instead of typing 0.506127, he typed 0.506, a difference of less than 1/1000%. He expected the weather to stay roughly the same. But what happened? The weather changed completely. A sunny day became a hurricane 2 months later. This is the famous butterfly effect. A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can cause a tornado in Texas. Tiny changes in the beginning lead to massive changes in the end. Sensitive dependence on initial conditions. Here is the part nobody tells you. Chaos is not randomness. Lorenz's computer wasn't rolling dice. It was following strict rules, deterministic rules. The weather was 100% determined by the input. But because we can't measure every single molecule of air in the atmosphere perfectly, we can't predict the weather perfectly. Your brain is just a very wet, very complicated weather system. Billions of neurons firing, trillions of connections, hormones rushing in, blood sugar fluctuating. Every second, a storm of electrical activity. Because it's chaotic, you can't predict your own thoughts. You don't know what you're going to think in 5 minutes. And because you can't predict it, it feels free. It feels like magic. But that's just ignorance. Complexity is not freedom. Just because you don't understand the machinery doesn't mean there isn't a machine. A slot machine is complex, but the outcome is determined by the gears inside. A double pendulum swings wildly, but it follows Newton's laws perfectly. Think about this. If I had a supercomputer the size of the universe, and I fed it the exact state of your brain right now, I could simulate your next thought. I could simulate your confusion. I could simulate you rejecting this idea. The chaos disappears when you have enough data. The illusion of free will is just the gap between what is happening and what you can understand. And here is the glitch in the matrix. If your brain is a physical system, and physical systems follow laws, then your decisions are just the inevitable outcome of physics playing out in your skull. You aren't the pilot, you are the passenger. And the scariest part? Neuroscience proved this decades ago. Before you even know you've made a choice, your brain has already made it for you. This is the part that will mess with your head. In the 1980s, a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet ran a famous experiment. It sounds simple, almost too simple. He told people to flick their wrist whenever they felt the urge, just a random choice. He hooked them up to an EEG machine to measure their brain activity, and he asked them to watch a dot moving on a clock face and tell him exactly when they decided to move. Here is the twist. He found something impossible. The brain activity that caused the movement, the readiness potential, started building up nearly half a second before the person consciously decided to move. 300 milliseconds before they thought, I will move now, their brain had already started the process. Think about that. Your brain decided to move. Then, 300 milliseconds later, it sent a memo to your conscious mind saying, hey, I just decided to move. You should feel like you did it. And then, 200 milliseconds later, your hand actually moved. You are living in the past. Your conscious self, the voice in your head that thinks it's in charge, is just a PR agent taking credit for decisions made by the unconscious machinery. You aren't the CEO, you're the press secretary. You find out about the decision after it's already been made. Later studies used fMRI scanners. They could predict a person's choice, left button or right button, up to 7 seconds before the person was aware of making the choice. 7 seconds. Imagine sitting there, thinking about which button to press, and a scientist in the next room already knows what you're going to do, because your brain has already done the heavy lifting. This is where your intuition fails. We think consciousness causes action. The science says action causes consciousness. The feeling of will is just a story your brain tells itself to explain why your body is doing things. It's a narrative, a post hoc rationalization. I moved my hand because I wanted to. No. You moved your hand because neurons fired. And because neurons fired, you felt like you wanted to. Wait. If my brain decides before I do, then who is I? Am I just a passenger in a meat robot? And if I'm not in control, does that mean I'm not responsible for anything? So far we've learned. The universe is a fixed block of space-time. Your brain is a machine following laws, and your consciousness is just the dashboard lighting up after the engine has already started. Does this mean life is pointless? Wrong. It means life is perfect. Imagine watching your favorite movie. You know exactly what happens. You know the ending. Does that make the movie bad? No. You cry at the sad parts. You cheer at the happy parts. You feel it. Knowing the script doesn't ruin the experience. It makes you appreciate the art. You are not the writer of your life. You are the main character in the most complex, beautiful, chaotic movie ever made. The script was written 13.8 billion years ago, and you get to watch it unfold, frame by frame, in glorious first-person perspective. You don't have free will, but you have something better. You have presence. You are the universe experiencing itself. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, because honestly, you don't have a choice.